All right. So I got one for you, Joe.
Oh boy.
No, it's actually a pretty good one, and I'm sure we all deal with this. So you've been in this game for a long time, and of course you've been at family functions or at parties or whatever where you're not working, and you meet people that you haven't met before at this party, and they ask you, "What do you do for a living?" What do you tell them?
So I try to think about that question actually before I go into an environment that I'm kind of forced to be involved in. So if we go to let's say sometimes you go to a ticketed event like a gala dinner or something, and if you're there, people are going to talk to you. It's just the way it is. You can't really hide in that environment. So that's kind of the environment I'm talking about. So I actually think about that question about what I would say in that environment, what I'm doing there. So to back that up, if in that case somebody asks me, hopefully I have a response. But if I don't, my typical answer is I use a similar term to executive assistant, depending on who I'm working for, if that's appropriate, if they would have one. So something like that. So I'm some type of an assistant to that person. If they are the type that has, like what I'm trying to say is if they're a celebrity, I'm not going to say executive assistant. I'll say, their assistant or something plain like that. If it is an executive, I might say EA. I've used the term chief of staff before. I've used like all kinds of terms like that. So that way they know that why I'm tuned into what that person does, but it's also boring enough that they don't ask me more questions, potentially. So if I say something like, oh, I work personal protection for so-and-so, he might be like, oh, why does he need that? What's going on? It kind of leads him to following questions. So I try to be as boring as possible with my response.
What if you go to a family or to a party with your family? So you're not working at all.
Okay.
And somebody you met at the party go, hey, Joe, I'm Christian. Oh, hey, Christian, how are you? And I go, so what do you do?
I usually say security consultant.
Okay.
I usually say that because, and it depends on who I'm talking to, of course. But usually if it's something where I don't want to get into a conversation, which I'll often don't, I just say security consultant or something, boring again. That way it doesn't lead into more. If you say, personal protection, executive protection, it just leads into more questions. So just try to keep it boring. Yeah,
I usually say something like that too, that I'm a security consultant. And if they keep asking, I usually say fire safety. Yeah, because there's nothing more boring on this planet. So that usually shuts people up.
Yeah.
But let me continue that question a little bit more. So you go to another party where you have some of your really good friends that over the years you have kind of let into what you do, and they know what you do and stuff like that. But people kind of start asking like intimate questions about your principles and what you do, and especially if you work for somebody who was just in the news or in media or whatever. How would you handle that?
Very generic, basic responses that don't give them the information they're really looking for.
Yeah.
And it almost makes it annoying to ask because, one, if you say you can't answer that, it actually increases right. So if you're like, oh, I can't get into that, I can't talk about that, it actually increases the interest and the problems you're going to face with those questions. And obviously you don't want to spill the beans on all the details. So I give some type of generic response. If someone says, oh, I saw your employer in the news, did they do it? Be like, well, I don't know. What did the news say? Like just kind of flip it around, divert, that kind of thing. But play dumb.
Play dumb and don't engage in the conversations, right?
So
can be a little awkward sometimes, though, but
very awkward, especially if they know.
Yeah, exactly. Put it back on them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.